emails from the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign. But should they have? Now that we know the extent of Russia's involvement, news organizations are wrestling with that question. Last week, the Washington Post wondered, did the media become a de facto instrument of Russian intelligence? The article asked, do we ignore hacked emails until we can determine their origins? Do we ignore them completely, regardless of origin? And what if they hurt the candidate we're pulling for? You can see why the media is really struggling with this. Still, many editors are defending the coverage of the hacked emails. The LA Times Washington bureau chief said, quote, my default position is democracy works best when voters have as much information as possible about the candidates and their campaigns. He added that it shouldn't matter if the source of the information is unsavory. Jennifer Palmieri, Clinton's communication director, has a different view. She told the New York Times, this was stolen material. By virtue of using them, you are allowing yourself to be used by Russia and WikiLeaks for their own purposes.
Interesting.
Camille, you're laughing at Jennifer Palmieri?
I am, because that is ridiculous and stupid and nonsensical. Look, at the end of the day here, there are still questions about what we know about these emails. I think there ought to be a very public investigation. If the United States government and the President of the United States and one Mr. Obama at this point is threatening to take offensive hacking actions against another country, I want to know exactly what they know and how they know it. I want to have some sense of that before the federal government goes and essentially takes part in an act of war, a serious provocation and escalation here. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if the contents of the emails are true, that seems to be materially significant here. It's materially significant in the sense that, yes, people read this, they have more information. But what might be even more significant is that it doesn't seem like these emails actually changed the outcome of the election at all. I've seen very little evidence to suggest that Democrats were not showing up or that Republicans were more likely to show up. The fact of the matter is that the email that probably had the most impact on sort of the political psyche or on Republicans who were reading this stuff was the one where words were put into someone's mouth that didn't actually come from them, or I guess in their outbox.
What was that? What was that?
This was the Cindy Blumenthal email, where he was supposedly saying that the Libya situation was totally fine. This was something that everyone should be interested in. It was totally a failure of the Hillary Clinton administration. It turns out that he never wrote that, and we found out fairly quickly. So I don't know that these emails have had any impact except for getting Donna Brazile fired, which I think is a great thing.
That was it, right, Seth? If it didn't affect the way people voted, I mean, they keep saying Russia hacked the election. They hacked the DNC computers. We had our election. Everyone voted the way they wanted, right?
I don't know. There's no evidence so far about Russia actually hacking like the voting booths, which I don't think they did, or maybe they did, but I don't think there's any evidence of that at all.
We don't need to speculate about it. There's no
evidence of that. So if it's just the email thing, I think he's right. I think it didn't affect who showed up or who they voted for. There's tampering, but I also feel like it's better if we know more than we don't.
Better to know more. Oh, Kissel, you want to get in here, but let me go to Kristen. I'll finish up with you on this.
I know.
You can wrap it all up in a bow. It's going to be very good.
It better be.
Okay, get ready, everyone. Kristen, I think this Russian thing has been overhyped, but the press now has to address it, and they have to address their own role in it.
Well, the problem here isn't even Russian hacking. It's our own cybersecurity. Maybe now the government will step up their efforts. Maybe now they'll realize it's not a good idea for our Secretary of State to be running private email servers from her basement. I mean, of course, Russia, North Korea, China, they're always going to be hacking us. That's what they do. It's our responsibility to stop them with proper cybersecurity measures.
That's right.
In fairness to the government, though, I'm pretty sure having a private email server in your basement was already illegal.
But no one seems to care because it was Hillary Clinton. And she's a Democrat.
Ben Kissel, it's true. The Russians, the Chinese, they're going to do what they want. They're not nice.
It's not as if hacking is something that hasn't been occurring ever since societies existed, okay? Like, we know that the Russians have been hacking, the U.S. hacks, Chinese hack, everyone's hacking. The DNC sounds an awful lot like the conservatives did when referring to Edward Snowden a few years back, and I think they're extremely hypocritical for that. Obama talking like Dave Coulier's character in Full House, being like, Russia better cut it out. It's nonsense. sense.
Right.
Him trying to sound strong is
Right.
pathetic. And right now, the Russians are getting exactly what they want because the Americans are distrusting of democracy. The entire point is, like you said, Camille, you can't. They did not. I got it on the third try. You know, I worked really hard.
I'll take Kumiya, it's fine.
But there's no way they could actually adjust the outcome of the election. Right now, Putin is happier than when he's watching Rocky IV during the workout scene with Ivan Drago. He is absolutely thrilled that Americans are so distrusting of the government, and they undermined this entire election in a perfect way, and the media is playing right into their hands and spreading the exact narrative that the Russians wanted them to spread. So I think it's really, everyone's complicit in this, and I think the media needs to be very careful not to give too much credit and too much power to the Russians.
You know, I said you were going to wrap it up in a bow, and I thought you were going to fail spectacularly, but you did great.
I never fail.
No, that's
the classic Kissel way.
It worked all the arguments in, and it was fantastic. Okay.